Hey guys, Chris here. So a few days ago, I joined the Polestar Facebook group here in Norway, and I posted a question telling those guys that I'm gonna have a Polestar 2 for just a few days, and if there's anything you guys want to see. And I got a lot of suggestions, a lot of good suggestions, and also quite like unrealistic suggestions, like taking the car on a racetrack and having a professional race driver to drive the car. I'm only gonna have this car for a few days. That's gonna have to be booked. I don't know any professional race driver, but yeah. But there was one question that really intrigued me, and that was try the one pedal driving consumption versus non-one pedal driving. So that's what we're gonna do in today's test. We're gonna go on a loop, and this car has actually 3 settings. So you have off, you have low, and then you have standard. Standard is the one I prefer. I love the one pedal driving in this car. It is awesome, and I think it's actually the best calibrated one pedal driving of any EV. And you could put it to low or standard, which is really cool. So I really like the aggressive style, but you can also set it off, and you can also turn on creep mode if you want, the car to creep forward. So you can totally set up this car how you like it. And applause to Polestar, because I don't know about any other manufacturer that lets you customize it this much. I really wish my Audi e-tron had this feature, because getting back into my Audi e-tron, it's not as nice to drive, because it doesn't have the one pedal driving. You have to fiddle around with the handles on the steering wheel, and it always resets when you put on the cruise control. But yeah, that's a whole different story for a different type of video. So today we're going to do 3 loops on the same test, and I'm going to drive on a route where we're not going to use radar guided cruise control, because when we do that, well, the car's doing all the management, and I really don't think there's any difference if you have it on or off when you're on radar guided cruise control, because the car's the one doing the braking, and of course it's going to try to be as efficient as possible. So I'm going to go on a route that is going to be a mixture of some motorway, some country roads, and it won't be a too high of a speed run, but I'm going to reset my trip computer. So we're going to, of course, measure the consumption, but we're also going to measure the average speed. So we're going to try to match that as good as possible. Oh guys, before we set off, I'm just charging the car so the conditions are as similar as possible for all of these 3 runs, because if I just, set off from my house, well, the battery would be cold, the car would be cold, and we would probably get higher consumption. And then on the second run, we would have been on the road for a while, and then, the consumption would have lowered because the car would have been heated up, the battery would have been heated up. So we're going to try to match the conditions as closely as possible. And guys, if it sounds like I have a cold, I've been having a cold for a few days now, feeling a little bit under the weather. So I haven't been able to push out all the videos I wanted to do on this Polestar. But I also tested myself for COVID, and thankfully the test was negative. Not so lucky for my colleague Björn, my fellow YouTuber. He actually has the vid, so yeah. So hope he gets well soon. If you're watching this, Björn, I don't know if you're watching this, hope you get well soon. But yeah, that's why I'm feeling kind of like under the weather, because I have this normal cold, not the vid, thankfully. Okay, we have now completed our first loop. We're back here at our starting point, which is SO here at Ramstadsletta. And what we're going to do, we're going to just reset here and be on our way, because the chargers are over there. But I was actually stationary for about half an hour before we set off, just taking a phone call. And yeah, so the battery has probably cooled down a bit, but before we started, after charging. But let's go ahead and check our consumption. And that is 17.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And just a disclaimer, 5 degrees Celsius outside. We have a little bit of, wet roadways, or, the roads are a bit wet because of all this melting snow, but, the weather is beautiful today. But yeah, so 17.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, an average speed of 50 kilometers an hour. So I'm going to reset this, and then we will be on our way. And also the route is 27.8 kilometers. Okay, round 2 is now done. And I thought about this, guys. I'm going to do a control round at the end where we, do it a last time with, no one pedal driving on, just to see if, us driving for those many hours gives, a different result. But yeah, okay, so let's see. So this is interesting. Look at our consumption. Sorry guys, that's the completely wrong trip computer here. So we had a little bit more traffic, about a minute longer, same distance, but look at that, 18.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and a little bit lower average speed at 49 kilometers an hour. As I said, we had a little bit more traffic. That may be the reason for our higher consumption, but yeah, we're gonna reset the computer now and then go on our last, not the last, take it to last, because we're gonna go full one pedal driving now, see how that goes. Okay guys, round 3 is now done. So I'm curious to see the results, because I think our first run is still our best run. So we're gonna stop here as we have done, and then we're gonna look at this. Okay, no, look at that guy, 17.8, but look at our average speed. It's higher again, so we had a cleaner run this time, 52 kilometers an hour, but 17.8. And look at that, guys, also 27.9 kilometers. That's because I just took the wrong exit, but I swear, guys, I haven't driven more than about 50 meters more than on the first run, so I don't think that's going to give us any, difference. But 17.8. So we're going to do the control run now. We're going to put, the car into, again, back to one pedal driving off. And then we're going to reset the computers, and then we will be on our way. Okay guys, we are now back here at our starting point here at Esso in Ramstadsletta. We have done 4 rounds in total, so we're just gonna go do a quick overview, recap before we look at the last round. So round 1 with no one pedal driving, we had a consumption of 17.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers and an average speed of 50 kilometers an hour. Quite clean run, a little bit of traffic, but not too much. Round 2 was the one pedal driving set to low. We had a lower, average speed at 49 kilometers an hour because we had more traffic, but our average consumption was actually higher at 18.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Round 3, we set the regen to full, to standard, the one pedal driving, and we had a cleaner run at 52 kilometers an hour, and our average consumption dropped to 17.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Now round 4, which is our control round, because remember we disconnected from a charger, meaning the battery was still hot, so that may give some impact on the results. So that's where we're doing the first run without the one pedal driving on as our control run on our last round. So the consumption, or the average speed, was actually identical to round 3, which was 52 kilometers an hour. And our consumption was 17.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So identical to round 3. So round 3 and round 4, same consumption, same speed, but one pedal driving totally off in round 3. No, totally on in round 3, and then totally off now for round 4. So that's, we may have some variables, of course, but that's pretty conclusive that one pedal driving on or off, if you go the same speed, meaning you're modulating your brake kind of similar, there isn't any difference at all. There isn't any difference at all, because you're basically doing the same thing with your right foot, braking, as the car would do with its one pedal driving. So guys, let me know what you think of the results down below, because I think this is quite interesting, and this is what actually I would predict. If you modulate your brake pedal and your gas pedal good enough, you'll get the same results. But still, it's nice to know that you can drive the car sufficiently with the one pedal driving off. I prefer the one pedal driving to the most aggressive setting, and it's nice to know that I'm not using more or less electricity by doing that. So guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always guys, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.